Hey everybody, this is Lowell with Refined Performance in my garage again because it's crazy windy out there again. You guys don't realize this, but this is like take 342 of me trying to do this video. I did admit that I am an amateur. I'm going to turn around, make you guys dizzy. Let's see the car. There, that's kind of a, go this way. Oops. Anyway. I'm not good at this video thing here at all. Anyway, like I said, this is probably actually like take 5 or 6 of me trying to do this intro video to cheap upgrades that I've done to my car. Now the first thing I'm going to talk about on the video, when we cut to that part that's already done, I just can't get this beginning portion right. Let's see if I can do it. Anyway, when we cut to the video, I'm going to talk about the halos, how I changed the halos, to give it a more updated look. I've installed door sill lights or under door lights, and I made my steering wheel trim look a lot better for $0. So that's about it. Made it a lot shorter this time because I don't want to mess up again and do it over. So hang on a second, we'll flip to the next clip. All right, we're in my garage because it is another crazy windy day here in Vegas. And honestly, it's kind of warm in the garage, so I think I'm going to need to do this pretty quickly. But I said that I was going to show you the halos, that when I bought the car, they had the incandescent halos, and I replaced those with some bright white halogen. They're only 20 watts. I've seen 40, 60, 80 watts. You know, I've seen even lower. I've seen, 14 watts. But they're only 20 watts. They only cost me about somewhere around 20 bucks for the pair. And the difference is amazing. So I lock, unlock, and you can see how bright white the halos are in comparison to the original yellow incandescent looking halos. So that to me made a big difference because I drive with these lights on as running lights, and so when I see the same model car with the dim yellow looking halos on as their driving lights, to me that makes the car look older. So I'll pop the hood here so we can see. I can show you that it was relatively simple to replace the bulbs. The driver's side was a little more difficult. So here we are. Here's the headlamps, and the bulb is in behind this round cover right here. So because I didn't really know what I was doing, I went ahead and I took off these 2 bolts, and they're hex heads. I'm going to Torx heads, I mean like T30s or something like that. Those 2, and there's 2 down inside that I took loose, and I pulled this out because I couldn't really get my hand in there. Now you may be able to, if you move these wires out of the way somehow and then maybe disconnect this latch, you may be able to get your hand in there without taking the headlamp assembly out, but I didn't opt to go that route. So anyway, I took the headlamp assembly out, opened that up, took the bulb out, replaced it with the Cree bulb. Now, don't be impatient like I was in getting this headlamp assembly in and out, because once you take these 4, right here, 1, 2, and then 2 more down below, once you take those 4 out, this headlamp assembly slides forward, and it takes a little bit of work to wiggle it loose, because the wires are still attached, and it is a very snug fit. And it actually, when you pull it out, it has a little slide clip on this side that you have to get past. And then this, as you can see, the headlamp assembly actually goes back in behind the plastic front bumper and fascia. So the fit is pretty snug. So the reason I say be patient, because I don't want you to be like me and get frustrated and get in a hurry and do this to your plastic, your bumper, or your fascia here. So there's something sharp in this area on this headlamp back there, and trying to slide it in, I scratched up the front. And of course, that is part of the whole front bumper assembly that when I bought the car, right after I bought the car, I had removed and repainted so it was nice and clean. And after I had that done, I did that. So either, if you're looking at getting a paint job, either you do the headlamps before, or you have them do it for you. You have the shop do it for you. Either way, you'll come out without messing up your bumper, or be a little bit more patient than I was. Now on the other side, you don't have the wiring or anything in the way. So on this side, instead of taking these same bolts out, there, or there, and down inside, I was able to reach my left hand in here and remove this, and there's enough space in there. You can see there's space in there. There was enough space in there for me to actually reach in, remove the bulb, disconnect it, put the other bulb and the additional wiring, because there's additional wiring with the new bulb, and get everything back in there without removing the headlamp. And you can see, I'll let you see again on this side, the bright white. And you can see it's much brighter than the ordinary yellow incandescent. And this is not nearly as bright as some other cars that I've seen, but this is more than adequate for me. I'm happy with that. So just so that you are aware, if you can get in there, the driver's side, and get your hand, or you can get these things, this cable is for the hood latch. There's a hood latch on each side. This cable goes to the hood latch. So maybe you can take the hood latch loose and get it out of the way, and get this wire from this clip and get that out of the way, and actually get your hand in there and replace the bulbs without removing the headlamp assembly. So that would be my recommendation if you can do it. If not, just be careful pulling the headlamps out and putting them back in, because you don't want to do what I did and scratch your car. So that's that. Another minor thing that I did that only people that get in and out of your car would see, any friends, passengers, or whatever, is that I installed these lights that are under the door. And I have this plastic, or this black folder here, so you can see what it looks like. It is the M emblem, and it actually is a light under the door. Now, when I was purchasing them, there is a light under the mirror here. Let's see if I can make that light up. That's a side marker. There it goes. You can see the light under the mirror here. So me not paying attention, I thought that this light shining down on the ground was the light that they were advertising for sale that would show that M emblem. So I bought a pair, and I tried to figure out how to get to this light, and I believe I know how to get to it now, but at the time I was struggling. I was like I said, a little intimidated with getting into it and not messing something up. Then, for whatever reason, I was having brain block. For whatever reason, the block unblocked, and I reached down, and I felt the light right here. So you can see, as I move my hand across here, it's the light. So, and all it is on the back side. It pops out. There's a little two-prong plug that plugs in. You have to be careful not to jerk the light out really quick, because it may come unplugged, and you may lose the plug in there and spend a ridiculous amount of time trying to reach it and get it back out so you can plug the new lights in. But that, I think, is a really cool feature, and everybody that's seen it loves it. Oh, I gotta unlock. And once I figured out that that was where the light was, I bought a second pair so that I have them on the front and rear doors. Back door, front door. So, my folder fell. Help me show your the light. So the last thing I want to talk about on this video is this little thing right here. Now, some of you probably already know what it is. Some of you may not know. But this is one of those things. This was not cheap for what it is. This piece of plastic. And it goes as the bottom trim piece for the steering wheel. This is not cheap for what it is. This is, I think I spent about $75 on this. But I have a whole box over there full of other little things that I'll talk about on other videos. But what I want to show you on this, let me slide the chair back here. See if I open the top, if we get in more light. Nope, doesn't look like it. Well, what I wanted to show you here is, let me get a good angle. Where is that? There it is. I guess I need to put the key in. All right. There we go. There we got a little bit of angle. Now we got it. All right. So this piece, this trim piece that I paid about $75 on for, goes right there. I'll take the key out so the chiming quits. Wow. You can tell I'm an amateur at this still. Like my 4th video, still an amateur. Anyway, you can see that this is the piece that goes right here. Now I purchased this because, as I said on the first video, there was some wear right here on both sides of this steering wheel. And all of the cars that I looked at when I was researching cars and learning about the E60 M5, all the cars that I looked at had wear in those 2 spots right there. Now, a lot of people that are just ordinary drivers purchase these cars. The owners of this particular car, the people that owned it before I owned it, they were an older couple. I would say they were in their probably mid-60s, and so they never really drove the car hard or anything like that, and they probably never set up the M button, pushed the M button and drove it. But there was wear here, and I can only assume that it's from turning the steering wheel with your finger like that, like we did back in the day with the big old steering wheels and the big cars and the power steering, where you had to turn the wheel like 17 times to get around a corner, and you got tired of doing the hand over hand. But the way this steering wheel is set up, it's perfect for you to hold. Let's see if I go back down. Yeah, it's perfect for you to hold the steering wheel at 3 and 9 like you should. So really there's no reason for this spot to wear, except for if you're holding the steering wheel wrong. I mean, if you're hitting the paddles, if you're using the paddles at all, you're not going to hold it down here. I mean, you can, but the paddles, as you can see, they extend up high here and they stop down here behind the steering wheel. So, I mean, I suppose you could hold the steering wheel like this and still hit the paddle. But this is the most comfortable position to hold the steering wheel, and it's very ergonomic. You can see the notch for your thumb there. So, as I was saying before, I was kind of intimidated by this car, and I'll give you a better shot of how that kind of looks like a two-tone. I was kind of intimidated by this car, so I purchased this with the intention of replacing this trim piece, because this flat satin finish had worn in those 2 spots that I was telling you about right here. But I was a little intimidated, so I was hesitant on replacing it because I believe I have to remove the whole steering wheel. So with the airbags and the paddle shifters and all that stuff in the way, I was hesitant on doing that. So one day I was driving the car and I started messing with this finish that was right here that was already wearing, and it started to peel off relatively easy. I mean, it didn't peel right off, but as you pushed it, it would come off. So I decided that I was just going to take it off of here because there's a little channel right here and a little channel right here. And of course, these channels are where the trim piece actually stopped. So what I did was stuck my fingernail in there and went back and forth along the bottom side, along this piece of the edge, to wear through that coating on both sides. Right here, same way. And then down here, I did the same thing on the outsides of this piece. And once I felt I had worn through it all, I started peeling off. And it took me a few days to get it done because I didn't sit in the garage and just work on it for 2 hours straight. I'd get in the car and I'd peel some away and I'd peel more away the next time I drove. And, you know, so over the course of several days, I peeled it all away. And personally, you know, I mean, everything is, you know, your personal view on a car anyway. Personally, I really like the way that looks because it gives it a two-tone kind of look. Now, if this was carbon fiber, that would be even nicer. And you can get this piece, this entire piece in carbon fiber. But then it seems like an add-on to me because this section is carbon fiber as well. So this whole bottom section would be carbon fiber. Now, if I could get carbon fiber where it was just right here and this part was still the matte or the satin black and that was carbon fiber as well, then I would probably buy that. But I really like the two-tone look of this because this whole piece kind of comes together as one. And then these two look like the trim pieces. They look like separate trim pieces that go on there. And this looks like it's a permanent, those are permanent pieces. So that's why I like that. Like I said, I paid $75 or $80 for this thing. You know, if somebody's looking for one, I got one here. No major rush to sell it. I'm not really worried about selling it or anything. It'll sit in my garage in the box, in the original box, until I decide I want to use it or something. So anyway, that was the most inexpensive thing I did to the car because it was free. Most inexpensive thing in it, and I really liked the way it turned out, you know, personally. So that's enough rambling for this video. So I'll bring this to an end. Next video, I'll talk about my my BMW Roundel, Roundel. That's what BMW calls it. It's not a logo. It's not an emblem. You know, it's still a hood emblem, but they call it a Roundel specifically. So I'll talk to you about that because mine is here blue and black instead of blue and white. And I would like to get those colors all the way around the car because obviously the car is blue and black. But I'll tell you why I can't get those colors, as far as I know, all the way around the car, or why I won't put those colors all the way around the car on the next video. All right. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys got some ideas from, you know, the few little things I've done. Everything I've showed you today, the 3 things I showed you today were really inexpensive or free. So if you have a E60 BMW E60 M5, then hopefully this gave you some ideas. You know, maybe you don't do exactly what I did, but maybe it gives you an idea to do something similar or something, you know, somewhere else in the car. So that's all I want to do. Just want to share some thoughts and share my love for this car. So till next video, hopefully you enjoyed this. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because I will be doing more videos.